Hi everybody, it's Karon Thackston with Marketing Words, and I am excited to invite you to join us for a webinar that I have really been looking forward to. This is Dan, is it Meters or Metters?
Metters.
Metters, okay, and Eric Lambert of the Wholesale Formula, and have been a follower of theirs for a while now. You see people's name in print, you never know how to pronounce it. Have been through some of the material that they have, and when they offered to come and do a webinar for you guys, I was so excited I jumped at the chance. So we have them here with us to talk a little bit about what I call their backwards wholesale method, because they actually are doing some things in reverse that a lot of other people tell you. So I'm excited to have them here. I'm going to let them introduce themselves to you and give you a little bit of information. So guys, I made some notes of things that I wanted to be sure to talk to you about. But if you will, just start and give us a little bit of your history. How did you get started with Amazon as a whole? And then how did you merge that into the massive wholesale business that you have now?
Well, we started like a lot of people, which is with the retail arbitrage or RA Amazon model. And it just started as a partnership, Dan and I, doing it on the side to see if it worked, and it did. So we ended up quitting our jobs and doing it full time, and we did that for about 2 years. And then about halfway through our third year, we'd gotten to the point where we had generated enough capital that we couldn't spend all of our money with RA. You know, the restrictions of going on the road and finding it, filling the van up and processing it. We weren't able to continue to leverage our money, so we decided to try to buy products wholesale. You know, with the product being shipped to us, the margins being a little bit smaller than RA, but we would, you know, if it worked, we would be on the road less with our families more and try to, you know, incorporate that into our RA to continue leveraging our money. So that was July 2014, and then about 4 months in, so around maybe October, November, we realized that not only is this just going to like be addition to our RA, we were pretty convinced it was going to supplant it. So that Q4 was the last time we did RA, so Q4 2014, and from then on, beginning in January 2015, right after the holiday season, we've not done RA since, and it's been all wholesale. Last year, 2015, we did 3.9 million. As of today, I think we're around 3.5, 3.6 for the year so far. So
Wow, with half the year left to go.
right, and then with Q4 too. So even though we're not like focused on toys and games like we used to, so there's not that huge spike in Q4 like there is for it, there is still that natural progression of products still selling, an increase in products that we sell. So like I expect to hit 8 million this year. So so yeah, that's kind of
Congratulations.
thank you. I mean,
That's
it's been
awesome.
phenomenal. Yeah, the wholesale model really. I mean, as we'll talk about as we go on, you know, some bumps and bruises and things we learned along the way. But overall, it really stuck with us, and it's been something that we've been able to fine tune and work on over time to the point where it's really obviously very successful for us.
Wow, that's just absolutely awesome that you could take something like that. I mean, for those that I see some questions popping up here, what is RA? Retail arbitrage. There's also OA, which is online arbitrage. For those that are not familiar with the terminology, that's when you're going out and you're purchasing products from another company or from a physical store, and you are reselling those without a wholesale account. You're going to retail stores yourself, Target or Walmart or liquidation stores or things of that nature, finding sales and whatever, and then reselling those items on Amazon. And that is opposed to what Dan and Eric are doing, which is wholesale, meaning that you're able to purchase from wholesale businesses or distributors or things of that nature for a good bit lower price than other people would be able to get, and you don't have the digging around and trying to come up with the products, you know, like you would do with RA in the same manner. But that's just amazing to do $8 million in sales in 1 year and not step foot in a Tuesday morning or a Walmart or
and most
not be
importantly, no
pulling stickers off of
stickers.
items and and all that
Exactly.
other stuff. But now you didn't. I know from some things that I've read about you guys and some other contact that we've had that this has not always been sunshine and roses for you. I
No.
think there were some stumbles and some missteps along the way, and a couple of pitfalls that we want to hear about too, because everybody loves to learn from somebody else's mistakes, so you don't end up making the same one. Can you tell us what some of those hiccups were?
I can, and I'm going to probably let Dan field this one. Before I do, I'm going to put this up before I forget, because this is really important. This is some great information here. We've got, can you see the slide I have up
Yep.
here? Is it showing?
Yep.
Okay. What this is this free videos that we've put together that kind of go in depth, or obviously we'll gloss over it here and touch on it as we go through. But this is more in depth about what we call reverse sourcing, which is the method that we use to find products. Traditional wholesale is to go into a trade show and speak to a manufacturer or vendor from there, get a catalog, and go back and hope you find products. What we've done is we've reversed the process, and we source through Amazon. We look on Amazon and try to target products that are already selling really well and established on that platform, see? And then we contact that manufacturer from there. So we already know the product to be good and something we're interested in. We just got to contact the manufacturer to see if we can sell it and look at pricing. And so these videos will go in depth about explaining that, and then how, once you've found this product, kind of how to analyze it. Is this a product that is going to fit well in our model, like utilizing free resources like Jungle Scout to determine, estimate how many times a month this product is going to sell, and what kind of margin we can expect, and how to really analyze this. And this is literally the way that we have fine-tuned product selection over time and grown our business, to the level that we have today. So I think we're going to have these up at this website here, marketingwords.com/wholesale video 1. We're going to have those up for a couple of weeks. So go over and check those out. It's got a lot of great information and things that this webinar, we may, there's only so much time, so we may not be able to get in depth explaining it, but these videos really do dig in and give you a good idea of exactly the type of products that we target and have enabled this meteoric rise, if you will. And so I just wanted to get that out there and make sure people take advantage of that.
Absolutely. I put that link. I put a clickable link in the chat box. So
okay.
If you don't want to write it down or it's too much to remember, they can just go over and click on the link marketingwords.com/wholesale video 1, and that will take you to the page where the first video is. There are 2 others in this series, the free series with 3 videos. I have had the pleasure of watching these. They have some phenomenal information in them, and I am shocked that you're giving them away free. Just the 3 free videos you could easily charge $97 for in a heartbeat, and the information would be well worth it. So you guys are getting a special treat here to get those 3 videos for free.
Yeah, so that's amazing information and a lot of good fun stuff. But now to segue to the bumps and bruises and the hard knocks that we've taken so far.
I can tell you that learning the information to make those videos was not free.
No, it wasn't.
We took our lumps like everybody else. But I want to pull back just a touch and say that we did have motivation for learning wholesale and going through these bumps and bruises, and it was we were making great money with retail arbitrage, but we were hardcore. We were shopping all the time. We were away from our families all the time. And this gave us, and the wholesale model gave us the freedom to work from home and be able to see our families every single day.
Right.
And create a business the business we have now, it doesn't, if we're not there working 40 hours, our income's not directly tied to that. Like our hours mean more because we're able to scale more effectively and things like that. But to get into the bumps and bruises, like there were plenty of them. And the first bump and bruise was that everyone gets, whenever they start getting interested in wholesale, they start wanting to reach out to your traditional ways, like, hey, I want to find people who sell wholesale products. How do I find wholesale sources? And we did the same thing. Like, we were looking for wholesale sources, and just going through those gigantor catalogs, the humongous ones where it's like, hey, we carry all this stuff, and you're sitting there line by line going through, and it's like, nope, that's not good. Nope, that's not good. And it was an epic waste of time.
Yeah.
It was just monumental. And it's like, man, there has to be a more efficient means to do this. And it's like, you can utilize softwares and other stuff, but still, it's like, it's literally trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's just, it was a nightmare. And then we did well, if you can't find it in these gigantic catalogs, maybe you can find it at a wholesale trade show. So we went to wholesale trade shows, and the problem there was, there's everybody there is there to buy that same product.
Right.
Everybody has the exact same access to it. So we bought product that looked great at the time, brought it home, guy had it shipped to us, and by the time we'd sent it into Amazon, it completely died.
Yep.
Like, it was, and that was just awful. It was just an awful experience, awful, like, man, I'm not sure we can actually do this. Like, we're just going to have to keep shopping at Walmart. But where there is a will, there is a way. Like, we wanted to make a business that would work for us, and we were really determined. So we continued to research, and that's how we came across reverse sourcing. And it was just a simple idea. It shouldn't theoretically. It's nothing. It's that the idea itself doesn't seem like it was revolutionary, but it was revolutionary in our business. And that was, we started looking first at products that sold on Amazon. Like, what is selling well on Amazon? And then we tried to find that product. Like, we tried to source that product. We weren't trying to source a heap of products and hope one of them was good anymore. We were looking, we had identified products that sold well and we thought we could do well with. And then we just started trying to track them down at the source. And our lives got amazingly easier because, you're guaranteed. Like, if I find a widget that does well on Amazon, and I contact that company about that widget, and they say, well, we carry all this other stuff too. Well, no, I'm still going to look at the other stuff that they carry, but I'm guaranteed to find a winner. I'm guaranteed to find a product that I want to purchase. So, the biggest, when you're talking about all these lumps of time, like wasting that amount of time, it doesn't sound like much, but if you go through those catalogs like we did, it's weeks of your life will be gone before you even know what happened.
It's still shopping. I mean, you were driving the car less, but you were still having to spend all your time shopping. It's just now you're doing it in a catalog instead of doing it standing in a store. So, it's still a big time suck and keeping you away from other things that you wanted to do. So where did the light bulb go off to reverse the process, to do it backwards?
Well, we knew that had to be a more efficient method because, like, if you look at, let's say you look at like the marketplace Pulse site that tells about the top Amazon sellers. If you look at those guys, almost all of them are wholesale based. And it's like, they can't be possibly doing it by sourcing in this fashion. And then if you look at the kind of products you're finding in these giant catalogs and these from these other closeout vendors or trade shows, like, all of them are generally almost all closeouts, right? And it's like, you see these companies carrying the same product over and over and over. So it's like, well, I don't look necessarily something towards end of life cycle where I'm having to compete with whoever can afford to get in on it. I want products that are still evergreen and we can sell every day. And I can tell you at this point that 100% of our inventory is replenished. So that means that we're buying a product. If I'm buying a product today, I'm buying it next month, and I'm buying it the month after that, and I get to make money on it every time I buy it.
That's awesome.
So
that's awesome.
Whenever you're able to do that, whenever you're able to turn your inventory into a replenishment-based inventory, instead of trying to replace income all the time, you get to a point to where you're just building income, and that's what's happened to us. Is we just continue to build income because we're just finding more replenishable products to add to the replenishable products that we already carry.
And that's so important. I know there are just so many sellers out there that are doing retail arbitrage or online arbitrage, and one of the biggest points of frustration is that you can't replenish. You find, some tea glasses or coffee mugs or something like that online at a store that's a closeout or that's on sale or something like that, and you get as many as they'll allow you to buy online or that they have in stock, but even if they sell and you make $25 profit on each set, you can't get any more. You know, they're all gone.
Right,
So
you're out of
it's
inventory.
aggravating sometimes. So then if
And
they want to make the jump from doing retail arbitrage or online arbitrage into wholesale, how do they do that? Give me a first step or how they can begin to walk in your footsteps and start to lay a foundation for building a wholesale business that's replenishable.
I mean, I think that's the thing is you have to, first thing you need to do is really make your mindset to be a business. So that means, you know, if you were doing it as a sole proprietorship under your Social Security number, you should probably get a federal tax number. You should get a resale certificate in the event that you haven't gotten that already. And then, you know, you should start getting things like get you, you know, a custom email address, you know, at yourbusiness.com rather than at gmail.com. When you start contacting these manufacturers, they're going to take you much more serious if, you know, it's coming from, you know, Eric at thewholesaleformula.com instead of like erictwf at gmail.com. So you start conducting yourself, you know, in a manner that, you know, to build a business and present yourself, you know, in a professional manner. And then because, you know, the RA is a business, of course, but, you know, it's more close, resembles a job because you get out of it, you know, you're your own boss, but if you quit sourcing, you quit making money. You know, with the wholesale, once we figured it out, we've been able to outsource, you know, virtually everything from this business, you know, from the sourcing to the prep and et cetera. So, you know, once we understood it, we were able to then empower people to do it. With RA and OA, like you said, it's hit or miss in terms of like they have to have the same knowledge about a product and be able to analyze it when they see it in the store or online the same as you would. And that's really difficult to teach someone else to see things exactly like you. But with the wholesale model, it's really easy to replicate, you know, because it's just a set of criteria with sales rank, et cetera, that, you know, that we target. And so at this point, you know, it's all outsourced for us. But I mean, just realistically for me, it's about starting to begin to conduct yourself in a professional business sense manner. And I'm sure I've missed some things.
No, I mean I think that's the biggest first step is make sure you're conducting yourself like a business and a brand. Like when you're contacting them, you don't want to, you know, you want to be using a domain email. You want to be sending it from, you know, Eric at the Wholesale Formula rather than Eric is the best at gmail.com. Like that is not, you know, that's not the professional attitude you want to be delivering. So it's every time you start thinking about how you're going to reach out and contact them, realize that it's your brand on the line. Like you want to be representative of your brand, and just make sure to handle things very professionally. You know, we always suggest utilizing professional services. For example, we don't do our own taxes. Like we hand it off to a CPA. That's part of being a business. We understand that there are expenses in business, and those are just some of them. Conduct yourself like a business, and instead of just you know, running at it without any structure, because you're able to run less structured whenever you're a retail arbitrage model, because you know you're going to buy a product and you don't really have to negotiate. You don't really have there's really no approval process. It's I go buy this product, I get to sell it on Amazon. But when you start developing relationships with other businesses, there is a, you know, it's the same thing. Your appearance is your first impression. Make sure it's a professional one.
Right, and I know from the times that I've done some wholesaling that most of the companies that I dealt with required me to send a copy of my business license, my wholesale tax certificate, etc. So is that typical of the companies that you've dealt with as well? There is an approval process and some requirements in order to purchase wholesale.
I mean, 100% of the time, a company will ask you for a resale certificate. Mm-hmm. If they're claimed to be a wholesale company and they don't ask you for a resale certificate, they're probably not a real wholesale company. They're probably some sort of buying club or something like that.
Right.
And you're guaranteed not to get the best pricing in that scenario. So, with a legitimate wholesale company or manufacturer, they're going to require that you have a resale certificate.
Okay. All right. Now, speaking about getting the best prices, that kind of leads to a question that a lot of people have. This is a whole different type of buying. So what are we talking about budget-wise when it comes to wholesaling versus RA or OA?
It's one of those things. The minimum orders we typically encounter are, say, $500.
Okay.
We generally suggest that people are getting into wholesale with a minimum of $2,000 to $4,000 because I think it allows flexibility, because you're going to make mistakes.
Right.
You're going to purchase products that don't work out, and there is a bit of a learning curve, so you're not going to be perfect at it. But that gives you the best opportunity. I feel like that gives you a good opportunity to succeed. Also, it gives you a little bit of opportunity to be able, if they give you a discount at, say, $750 or something like that, free shipping, if you have a $2,000 budget, that's something you can take advantage of. It's not that you wouldn't be able to with a $500 budget. So I think $2,000 to $4,000 gives you a lot of flexibility and lets you really get start to learn the process of buying wholesale.
Now, do you suggest that people start with one product? You mentioned that earlier when you were telling some of your story that, I think you said that you started with one product and to see what it was going to do, or do you suggest that they diversify with their budget and find 3 or 4 products to start testing in the beginning?
It's one of those things, if you're finding it under the right criteria, like I feel like you can invest in other products, but the restriction at first, the restriction at first is going to be able to products and companies that want to work with you. But if it's somebody that will work with you, then I feel like you should buy that product. So I don't know if that's a good or bad answer, but we don't diversify for the sake of diversification. We diversify, we try to find as many awesome leads as possible and buy those products.
Yeah, because diversification or whatever is obviously a thing. People in RA like to go wide and not deep, etc. But the thing is that's because oftentimes you're in the middling sales ranks where things, it may say 30,000 sales rank, but realistically it had just sold that day, and the actual sales ranks in the 125,000 sales rank, and so it may not sell as much as you want. With our formula and the way that we teach to do things, you're targeting products that are sub 10,000 sales ranks, so they're consistently selling. So it's not like diversifying because you might get stuck with a product. There's no such thing. Now, you may not make a good profit or the profit you thought when you bought it. The market may have changed, but you're going to be able to sell through that product and recoup your money in the event that you don't want to carry that product anymore because of increased competition or something that's changed by the time you've got it in. But you're going to be able to sell through and get your cost of goods back in a hurry versus, a lot of times with RA, when we go deep with something, like I said, I know we got stuck with products that when we scanned it, it was a 35,000 sales rank, but it's only because it just sold that day, and its average sales rank over the last 3 months was actually 120K, and I couldn't sell them no matter how cheap I made it. There just wasn't demand for that product. The products we target all have very high demand, so they're going to sell through, and you'll be able to, in the event that it ended up being a poor purchase or something that you didn't really like, you're going to be able to get your cost of goods or a large majority of it back in a very short amount of time.
I will also add that, with utilizing the wholesale model, you don't see the same type of price fluctuation. So it's not like you're buying something generally for, say, $10 and it's $20 on Amazon or $25 on Amazon, and then when you send it in, it's $13. That generally doesn't happen. You don't see those types of bounces because most of the competitors on a product will have roughly the same cost. It's really close. So there's not a lot of bouncing around that happens. Occasionally, things will go down, but what we've seen is kind of like the worst case scenarios are that we've had to lose like 10% on a product, and we just don't restock it on the next round, and then we're on to the next products that work for us.
Which is a lot more stable than RA and OA. I mean, that's another huge complaint that I hear from sellers is, we go and purchase all these products and we get them from lists or wherever we find them. We hire VAs that are supposed to be able to research this, and by the time the order comes in, they get it to Amazon, the price is tanked, and they either if they're lucky and they've got an extended amount of time to leave it there, they've got 12 months to be able to just get their cost back out of it, or take a loss, or have it destroyed, or whatever. So it sounds like the wholesale model that you teach is way more stable than that, if you're saying that sellers should be able, even in a worst case scenario, to recoup all of their cost of goods.
Or very close to it. I mean, the beatings we've taken in this model are losing 10%, whereas the beatings we've taken in the RA model we're selling it for less than our cost.
Yeah.
Like that, you generally don't see that in the wholesale side. It's in the products that, he mentioned this, the products that we target are very liquid, and that has something to do with it, because most people are, whenever you see like these giant fluctuations in price, most of the time it's on these middling ranks that got worse because people are trying to lower it or increase demand, right? I mean,
right.
That's the whole ideology behind lowering the prices. Well, maybe the price is too high. If I lowered the price, there might be more demand that gets that product. Well, the products we're targeting have great demand. Like, so there's not, you don't see people trying to inch it down as much to get extra sales, because there's a lot of demand for these products anyway.
That's awesome. Absolutely awesome. There's some people that I have spoken to recently, and I've also seen some posts in some Facebook groups from folks that attempted wholesale on their own, and one common thing that seems to come up is companies that say that they don't want to deal with Amazon sellers. Do you have a way around that?
Well, it's whenever we first heard that question, or first heard that answer, whenever we would call them up, that was like the worst thing. It was just, oh man.
Yeah, you feel rejected. What's the matter with Amazon sellers? So.
But the more that we are involved in this business model, the more that we appreciate that answer, because it means that this company is going to protect their brand. So, first you have to understand, like, you have to put yourself in their position. If they're telling you no, what does that mean? It means they've had a negative interaction with an Amazon seller.
Right.
It means they have a problem with it, or they don't understand the platform. So our goal is to find those pain points and help them. Like, we kind of transitioned from I just want to buy product and make money company to I want to be a solutions-oriented company that helps these brands get better and also increases my revenue at the same time. So, like, our first mission whenever we're contacting these companies, particularly when they tell us no, is we want to understand why that they don't want to sell to us, and then we want to see if we can address those issues with whatever we can do that would help their pain point. So I think approaching it from a solutions-oriented mentality will deliver a much higher value of success, and it definitely has for us, because we're constantly, that's how we get these accounts. That's how we start working with these companies, is because we're able to solve problems that other sellers either didn't take the time to ask about or didn't know how to solve themselves. So the key is being a tool for them.
Okay, so if I am an account rep for a wholesale company, and you contact me and you want to set up an account, and the very first question that I email you, or the first question on my form, is, are you an Amazon seller? Do you plan to sell our products online? And you come back and say yes, and I come back and say, see ya. How do you respond to me? How do you talk me into letting you sell, even though we don't want Amazon sellers?
Generally, at that point, when they've rejected us, we want to get on the phone with them, because it's going back and forth with email is it is convenient, but it's hard to have a true conversation, right?
Yeah.
So whenever they've rejected us, I want to contact that rep, and I want to talk to them about what are the problems you've had with Amazon sellers in the past, and I want to tell them why I'm different. Like, first off, focus on why I'm different. I'm not your typical Amazon seller. These are the things that my mission is, to actually help brands become better performers on Amazon. What are some of the issues you've had in the past? And then if it's something, if it is something that we can help with, like, we simply explain how we're going to be able to help with that process. But if it's something that we can't, you're not going to get all the accounts. Like, that's just not going to happen. You can fill a very large majority of the time with wholesale, and make a ton of money. Like you can get a ton of accounts and have to do a ton of sales and make a ton of money, failing a vast majority of the time. So, but ideally, what I want to do is contact you and find out the pain points you've had and see if I can be a solution in that scenario for you. And if not, even if it's more closed off, I want to identify pain points for you. Like if it's just, you don't want to talk about, problems you've had. I want to talk about, I may talk about things where, comparisons to other similar brands and the things they're doing to outperform your product. And it could be your listing is terrible. And you would probably be really good at this. Like you would probably be really good at how to market listings and how to make them incredibly and perform incredibly well. So a lot of it can be something as simple as that. But it's again just look to be solutions oriented and create win-win scenarios. Like we're not looking to I don't want you to begrudgingly sell me a product. I want you to be excited about the new partnership you've created.
You are quite a salesman, sir. I would let you sell for my wholesale business. I would. I'd approve your account. So do you teach this to people, how to be solutions oriented? This is not going to come, this line of thinking won't come naturally to most people.
Oh yeah, I mean that's it does require a shift in mindset, but yeah, we do focus on how to turn yourself into a tool for other people and how to become a solution for other people's problems and businesses.
Okay, good deal, good deal. Let me see. I've still got more stuff on my list here that I want to be sure to ask you. And we've got questions in the question box. If you have questions, definitely type them in the question box. We're going to have Q&A here in just a little while and make sure that all of your questions get answered while you're here. If you're unfamiliar with GoToWebinar, look in the little tiny control panel. Let's see, I'm probably backwards on the screen. It should be on your right-hand side of your computer monitor, and you may have to click the plus sign beside the word question, and it'll open up a box, and you can type questions into the question box. But something else that came up regularly when I was looking into all of this is a lot of people that complain that every product they find isn't profitable. I know people that have been selling on Amazon for years, and I guess, I don't know, if it was me, I probably would have packed it in by now. I guess maybe they're stubborn, or they're these A++ personality types. It will not defeat me. I will be profitable, because they keep selling and they're losing money. And some people have said there's never been a product that I purchased that has been profitable on Amazon. I know that's a very open-ended question, but do you have any ideas, any suggestions for these type of people, what they're doing wrong and what they can do right?
Well, in terms of wholesale, I mean, there's several things that lends itself to helping your margins, right? Number one, you should always negotiate. Like everything is, everything can be a negotiation. It doesn't even have to be a hardcore negotiation. It can be a win-win negotiation. Like you're looking for solutions in terms of you could tell them, this is the margin I need to be able to do the things I want with your product. Here's what I want to do with your products. So like that's a tactic we use every time. We always are looking for better pricing, albeit through volume or albeit through services that we can perform for their product and help their product perform better.
Okay, now tell me, what do you mean? I mean, what do you want to do with their product? You want to sell their product. What do you mean by that?
For example, let's say that your company wants to, we identify a problem point for you that a lot of your competitors are running sponsored advertisements, right? Mm-hmm. And I come to you and I say, well, with these current margins, I actually can't run these sponsored advertising for you. I would need you to give me a discount of this to be able to effectively market your products.
Aren't you smart?
Well, I mean, occasionally I come across that.
There you go, light bulb over the head, ding, ding, ding. Very cool.
But there's a lot of it, it can be volume based. It can be as simple as, a lot of people don't ask. They just read the initial sheet and I can't make any money. All right, I'm not going to do it. But they don't realize if they just call them and say, hey, I see that if I order 3 cases of this product, it's $12 a unit. I was thinking that I would be ordering more along the lines of 10 cases or 15 cases, because you've determined that that's what your monthly order is going to be.
Right.
Then they may say, okay, well, Karon, we can do these at $10 a unit if you're taking 15 cases.
Cool.
So you always should negotiate. But another thing that lends itself to being more profitable with a volume-based model is your handling cost and your processing costs go way down. Because if I'm processing 100 units of the same product, then it inherently costs me a lot less than if I'm processing 2 of this, 1 of this, 4 of this, because I can do it much faster. Okay, it becomes much quicker to process. Then the higher volume you ship to Amazon, the lower your rates can be. I'll give you an example. One of the shipments that we recently sent to Amazon, we sent at 3 cents a pound at shipping cost.
Wow.
Most people tend like the 35 to 45% range per pound.
Right.
But it's because we're shipping a bigger order. So you're able to drop your cost of handling, you're able to drop your cost of shipping, and your margins get better. So it's like you're effectively, what you're doing is you're reducing the distance between your gross and net margins by creating efficiency. And then you're negotiating better prices to increase your gross margin. So it all works out really well.
Well, and I love that all of this is a complete shift in thought, because, I mean, now I'm starting to see that what you were talking about earlier with the solution-based mindset is not just about, I mean, it permeates through everything. When you were just talking about negotiating, if you have a solutions-based mindset when you talk to these folks and you're on their side, you're teaming up with the wholesale distributor. And for so many people, there are complaints and there are arguments, and the distributor is the enemy. They're trying to get as much money as they possibly can, and there's, conflict between the buyer and the company because of the pricing, and they want to charge me so much for shipping and blah, blah, blah. And you're actually saying that you need to be on the same side and work with them and help them to make more money. And by telling them and showing them, this is how I want to make you more money, then you're able to negotiate better prices and actually have a pleasant experience instead of a battle with the distributors.
Yeah, and when you bring something like this to the table that they may have not known or realized that they may have needed, or how they could have introduced, what you then do is that you shifted power. Now they need you because
Yes.
they now know that you created a problem they didn't know existed,
Right.
and you have a solution for that problem. Because I mean, it's not uncommon. These people don't understand how Amazon as a platform works. They don't understand about the A9 search engine, how to maximize their listing for that, or how much better pictures convert for them, or all these things they don't understand. They just know that my product gets sold on Amazon, and I don't know. So being able to inform them puts you in a position of authority for them, and then they become you become necessary for them, and increasing their bottom line. So it's really a win-win. It's really moving away from, in the RAOA model, everything is just a widget. You just need a product to sell to make money on, and that's it. You find the next product. But these, with wholesale, it's more of an investment of sorts, because you have to spend time and you sometimes curate the the relationships that you get this product. But what happens is once you get it, that is revenue that comes in month over month, and then you continue adding new and different SKUs from different manufacturers, and you start growing your revenue like we did, because the retention rate on a wholesale product is very high. Like, it's replenishable month over month, and so as you add more SKUs month over month, your revenue comes back. You're able to reinvest more, and so on and so forth. And so, like, it really stacks upon top of each other versus RA, like you said, you may not be able to find that product again after it's gone through, and so you don't know. You should be able to find other products, but you're not able to get the same one over and over. So, like, it really stacks well. So it's like that's why it's a change in the mindset of, like, I wouldn't put this kind of effort contacting a company if I got their product via RA, because I can't get any. I don't have any. But with this situation, being able to order hundreds, if not thousands, of units over the next calendar year, it becomes worth the investment for me to try to secure that this particular manufacturer, this particular product.
But to go farther into the discount side, like there's so many ways to do it. Like you can do if their shipping rates are bad to you, like go through a freight forwarder, or show them a more efficient means to ship their product. We've actually went through that so many times where we get a bad shipping quote and we're able to get a much better one, and then we teach them about this is who we used if you guys want to use them in the future. So there's a bevy of options available to get discounts. Most people just don't explore those options. So the margins are for the people who look at the products and they're like, I can't imagine operating on those margins. More often than not, the margins are much better than they originally appear.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, we've got about 17 minutes or so left. Do you guys want to do some Q&A, or is there anything else in particular that you wanted to share before we start taking questions?
No, that sounds good. Q&A is obviously the best way to get the specific questions that people have.
All right,
so that sounds great.
Let's see what we've got here. Kathy is saying she went to the link for the videos and it says the website cannot be found. I checked that just a second ago on my browser and the link worked fine. So if you're typing it in, maybe you had a typo or something like that. But if anybody else has had trouble getting to that link, it's marketingwords.com/wholesale video 1, no spaces. All of that's all run together, so you may want to give it another try because it seems to be working great for me. Let's see, Trent says, so when you locate the product, do you piggyback off that listing or create a new listing under private label? Well, this is a wholesale item, so it's already branded by a company and it's known out there, so it wouldn't be private label, but most of the time I'm guessing these items would be on Amazon, right?
Yeah, I mean, to create a duplicate listing is actually a violation of Amazon.
He wasn't talking about a duplicate listing. He was talking about
private labeling what you find wholesale.
No, we want to sell the branded version because there's demand for that branded product.
Right.
We're generally not trying to create demand. We're not trying to create a new listing because there's a lot of effort and expense that goes into creating successful listings. We're able to avoid that by finding products that are already performing well and just tapping into that demand. Like, I'm not looking to create demand, I'm looking to fulfill existing demand.
Okay. Dale says, what do you do net after overhead, warehouse space, shipping, supplies, etc., etc., etc.? So he wants some of your sales and profit information, apparently. Can you give us an estimate of your net?
Yeah, last year was about 7% on 3.9 million.
Wow.
So that should be around 275.
I'll take your word for it. I don't do math in my head. Awesome. Not a bad haul. Or what did you say, about 20 hours a week? Is that what you're doing this now?
Yeah, that's about right. I mean, that's after, obviously we do have employees. It's probably a good opportunity to say, like, he included employees, warehousing, and all this stuff, and
right.
And that's certainly the way we do it. But if we were having to do it again, we would certainly utilize a prep service. We wouldn't have. We'd probably work out of a small office space for sourcing stuff. But all of our products, we'd try to get manufacturers to ship to Amazon if possible, and if not, to prep centers. And we wouldn't even. But the problem is I mean, for where we're at now is like, one, we have great employees, and we could be more proud of them. But like, we have the infrastructure in place by the time we learned about prep centers and things like this. So, but just know that it's not necessary. We have a beautiful 10,000 square foot facility with 7 or 8 employees. But at this day and age, like, outsourcing it all is just super convenient and very doable.
Yeah.
We also
go ahead.
We're also paid as employees too, through being taxed as an S corp. So that's the business profit at about 7%.
Cool. Awesome. That's wonderful. Yes, and for people that aren't familiar, there are companies out there called prep centers for Amazon. You can search online and find a ton of them, or if you're a member of Facebook groups for various Amazon folks, you can ask in there for recommendations. You can have your products shipped to the prep center. They will package them, bag them if necessary, label them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and ship them off with your label and your information to Amazon, so you don't even have to touch the products. And that's awesome in situations when you're wholesaling, because when you place your orders, you just have it sent to the prep center and you don't touch it again. You never have to see it. So let's see what we've got here. Is a reseller certificate the same thing as a business license in Canada? It's not the same thing as a business license here. Do you guys know in Canada?
No, but all it is when I say a resale certificate or something, it's like something from your country or state that certifies you as doing business. Manufacturers want to make sure that they're not, that they're dealing business to business is all. So whatever Canada's equivalent is to a resale certificate or registering a business, however you do it with your province or country, I'm not actually sure. But they just want to see some documentation that you're registered with some government authority as a business.
Okay. And then Brenda wants to know, how does one determine products to start out with? Do you have some criteria that you're looking for as you're scanning Amazon to see what wholesale products might be good?
We do, and that video link has the marketingwords.com/wholesale video 1 goes into depth exactly the types of products that we look for, and it does a great job of explaining what criteria we're looking for in terms of sales rank. More importantly, the sales rank is the function of how many times that particular sales rank in that category sells per month. That's what we want to know, is the sell-through and how we identify competition and all the things that go into product analyzation for us. So be sure to check out those videos, and I think that'll give you the real insight into actual how we source.
Any description we gave here would just be pale in comparison to the information in that. So I would 100% suggest watching those videos.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Michael says, do they only buy from China manufacturers? Do they put their own brand on the products? Now, this is wholesale. We're not talking about private label here. So I think you're buying from U.S. companies. Maybe you're buying some from China, but they're not putting their own brand on it. They want, as they said a minute ago, they want to be able to sell the well-known branded items on Amazon. So what about China? Are you sourcing any from China?
No, we don't source any products from China. We do have a couple Canadian manufacturers and a couple based in the UK, but outside of that, it's it's all domestic. And if you're, one of the things that you should really pay attention to, if you're trying to source branded products in China, you're probably counterfeiting product. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of branded. You have to have the permission from the manufacturer to buy a wholesale product. So I would definitely avoid kind of trying to go around that to the Chinese factories that claim they're selling whatever brand it is. It's not going to end well for you.
Yeah, I've heard about that too. Nikki is asking, what margin percentage do you work with? I'm not exactly sure what that question is.
Oh yeah.
I think she's pointed at ROI. We typically look for products with a 30% ROI plus, and we're trying to work. Our goal is to work to increase our net margin from that point. But we don't discriminate against higher margin products. Like, we do carry products that have 70% ROIs and 80% ROIs. But whenever you're doing a lot of wholesale, it's going to tend to be in the 30 to 40% ROI range.
Okay. Steve has a question. How do you deal with listings that Amazon is on? And I assume he's talking about selling against Amazon, or do you do that at all?
In terms of those listings, we avoid them. That's how we handle them. We avoid products that Amazon carries.
Yeah, most people do. That just can get ugly real quick. Not a good place to go. Let's see. What types of margins do you make after costs and Amazon fees? Do you have an average?
It's around 17%. Okay. 16 to 17%.
All right. Good deal. How do you obtain or apply for a resale certificate? That's going to depend on where you're located. Most of the time, I know in South Carolina, in Pennsylvania, in Indiana, and several other states, you go through the Department of Revenue. It may be that way for every state. And I don't know that you would have a lot of luck finding information about it on their website, because most of those websites are awful. You probably would do better to get the phone number and just give them a call and ask them, how do I go about getting a resale certificate, and they can point you in the right direction.
And if you've got more, if you've got the money to spend, I'm pretty sure a CPA will set it up for you for about $350 to go through all the paperwork or whatever, or maybe even less than that, I'm not sure, but
yeah,
it can be done. Google, it can walk through it really easily.
It's
Google.
not hard. It's not hard. It can be time consuming, but it's not hard. When is the next class? Well, we've got the 3 free videos that, let's see, the first video is available now, marketingwords.com/wholesale video 1, the number 1. When is the second one going to be released?
That's a question I don't know the answer to.
As soon as you make it.
Yeah, so apparently it's Tuesday.
Tuesday, okay, and then we'll have a third video after that. When you go to, I'll be sending out notices as soon as the videos are available. So whenever Dan and Eric give me the link to those, you will get notification of that as well. So look for an email that talks about that. Okay. How do we deal with minimum purchase requirements that are unusually high and designed to disqualify you?
I don't know that that's necessarily true. I don't think they're designed to disqualify you. It just means that the company's probably a very major company and they just don't have time to process POs less than whatever amount it is. I mean, we don't, I don't know that we have a strategy. Like, I don't think we've ran into too many companies. I mean, we've had to pass on some that were too big, but I mean, you just analyze your business. I mean, you certainly shouldn't be spending $25,000 on a purchase if it's all the money in your business. I mean, I imagine it's just like any other investment in business. You need to analyze it, but it's not something we run into very often.
No, I mean, it's really uncommon that you see the abnormally large ones, and it's generally because they sell through a number of distributors, and that's, they would obviously prefer you to buy through their distributors. So it's not something that, I mean, you encounter very often at all.
Okay. Here's a question. Are they selling products that are already doing well on Amazon? Yes. That's part of the formula that they were talking about earlier. They're going through, and I asked them if they had criteria. And you may have posted this question before I asked them that, Joy. But they are looking for a particular set of criteria when they search through Amazon to see, let's see, ones that you don't have to convince the wholesaler that Amazon works. A lot of times it's not the wholesaler that has the item on Amazon, right, guys? It's other sellers that have the products on Amazon.
No, that's right.
The majority of the time, it's just third-party sellers just like you.
Yeah, so the wholesaler may not have, other than knowing because people have called in and said, I'm selling it on Amazon or I saw it on Amazon, the wholesaler's not the one that's selling it direct. They're selling it to, I mean, it's the middleman. The wholesaler is selling it to the folks that will then put it out to retail pricing. Let's see, discuss the difference between exclusive control of a product and piggybacking on an existing product, Jim wants to know. And that's just a matter of...
Exclusive would mean you'd be the only seller. I can tell you this. If you go to a manufacturer and ask, can I be your exclusive seller? Hi, my name's Jim. I'd love to be your exclusive seller. You're not going to do very well at all. That's like basically asking a woman to marry you on the first date. You're not, look for opportunities to create relationships, and if you do well, that relationship will generally spawn into something more. So, but as far as one exclusive, it just means you're the only seller, and generally those are forged over time by, performance of how well you've done with their brand, or how well that you've helped them grow.
Right, exactly. All right, let's see what else we've got here. I think you've already answered this once, but we'll say it again. What is the minimum ROI or margin that you look for when you're searching for products to sell?
When we're searching for products, we don't know the cost, so there is no minimum. Like we look for products that hit a certain sales threshold, right? Like it sells this many times per month. Then we contact the company to find out what our pricing is, and we try to negotiate the best pricing possible. We generally don't place that initial order if it doesn't produce about a 30% ROI or better. So it's, but initially you don't know what your ROI is going to be before you know your cost. You have to know your cost, and then you have to you have to try to negotiate your cost to be better.
Right. Okay. Dale is asking, couldn't you just bypass the middleman / wholesaler and go straight to the manufacturer?
That's what we do the majority of the time. I mean, ours is almost, the only time we don't is if the manufacturer says they don't distribute their own products and they haven't. They put you to a distributor.
The misconception here is that I would assume what he's talking about is going to the factory in China. If you do that with a branded product, you are counterfeiting that product. Like that's the bottom line. If I want to purchase Nike shoes and do so legally, I have to approach Nike's sales department. I cannot go to that factory.
Yeah.
So we do go we do go legally direct. Like that's the point is, there is a distinction between manufacturer and factory. We do not buy from the factory because that is, that violates every trademark right in the world.
Yeah.
So, make sure you're doing this correctly. If you're buying branded products, go to the brand owner.
All right, couple more requests here, and these may have come in earlier for the link again, marketingwords.com/wholesale video 1, the number 1, not the word 1, no spaces. Marketingwords.com/ there we go, wholesale video 1. Yep, I see it up on the screen. And that will get you into the 3 video series so that you can use Dan and Eric's reverse sourcing method for getting wholesale products. Marketingwords.com/wholesale video 1. There's 3 total. The first one's available on that page right now, and then I will send emails when you sign up. If you give me your email address, then we'll send you the links for the other 2 videos once they make those and they let me know what the links are. Let's see. Just really want to thank these 2 guys for sharing this valuable information today. From Susan, I agree. This is awesome stuff. And just still the little wheels are spinning about creating relationships and being a source of help to the wholesalers and the manufacturers and the distributors that you work with. That just sets everything on a whole new edge. That's different than anything I've ever heard anybody teach before. Do you sell FBA or merchant fulfilled? I'm guessing FBA?
FBA only.
FBA only.
And the merchant fulfilled.
And I think I saw 2009, is that when you started selling wholesale? You dropped RA and you started doing wholesale?
No, it was 2014.
2014. Oh, sorry.
Almost 2 years to the day, really. It was July 14, 2014.
Oh, awesome. Okay. So you've been doing this for a while. Lots of experience. How much does ranking and number of sellers impact your decision?
Completely. I mean, the videos will show you how we determine the number of times it's going to sell, how to determine competitive offers. You just divide those 2, and if you get to, we'd like to target 90 sales per month. So if that product meets that criteria, like Jungle Scout tells me it sells 90 times a month, I need to be the only seller.
I will display a myth, or dispel a myth here, is that the number of sellers on the listing actually matters. It does, like, we don't care how many sellers are listed on the listing. We care how many competitors are on that listing. And that's what that video will show you, is it will show you how to determine the difference in a seller and a competitor, which are two entirely different things. So if you look at a listing and it has 35 sellers, that is an irrelevant number to us. We only care about how many of those are competitors.
Here's an interesting question. Why are you guys giving away this information to us? Aren't you concerned that this is going to help us increase your competition? Yeah. Why would you?
No, because we're not on anybody's radar. I mean, we're doing great. We're very proud of what we've done, but we're not even a fraction of a percentage of any real revenue on Amazon. And it's to the point where we've gotten you grew this business, and now I've outsourced it, so we don't need to actually work on our physical product business. And we were, last year we were doing active in Facebook groups a lot, and we get messages for people for consultations, and can you teach me to do what you do? And we just don't have time for the one-on-one consultation stuff, because I mean you can only do a handful of people really, and even then it's difficult to manage and work out. So we decided, why don't we try to make videos like this, and that way you can reach a wider audience and be more accessible. And I'm telling you, it's always so flattering, and when you're at these conferences or places, and you have people that have implemented some of your strategies, and they come up and tell you, how you've changed their life or provided some sort of freedom or stress relief in their life, and it's just every time. I mean, even anytime I hear it, it's so so amazing, really.
That's awesome. Well, I know it has to make a huge difference in a lot of people's business, because what you're teaching is just so different than what else is out there. Let's see what we've got. We already talked about this one. It's asking if you avoided products that already had multiple sellers and whatnot. So you talked about that already. Well, this kind of plays in what you were just talking about. Maybe you can go a little further. How many other sellers on a listing is too many sellers? Now, you talked about there are sellers and there are competitors. So how do you work out which one's which?
Well, I mean, the videos will show you that there's a little small, easy math equation that will teach you how many people are competitive for the buy box. That's the only people we care about. We don't care if somebody's selling a product and they've listed it at $50. If market value is $25, how many people are selling it in and around the $25 range? So you address that number. His example was 34 sellers or something, but only 7 may actually be in buy box competition. The rest maybe merchant offers or FBA offers that are way out in left field that don't even have no buy box consideration, so they won't take any effect when I determine how many times this product will sell. Then if let's say there were 7 competitive, what I consider to be competitive offers, I would make the 8th. So I would look at the number of times I expect this product to sell, divide it by 8. If that number is 90 or greater, it's a product I'm interested in.
Okay, awesome. So plug and play, stick the numbers in and see what comes up. Do you guys spend any money on pay-per-click for Amazon?
Occasionally, I mean, we do occasionally. But that's more of a benefit to if we identify that as a problem with a brand and we tell them that we're going to, then we will. But no, I mean, not generally to drive for the purpose of driving sales to products, because the products we target are pretty high volume anyway, pretty high velocity.
Alrighty. This one, let's see what you make of this. It sounds like, because you don't compete with Amazon on listings, that you're dealing with small to medium companies more often than not. How many of these companies are already selling their own products on Amazon before you approach them? We kind of addressed a little bit of that earlier.
Well, the first part of that is correct. The majority of ours are small to medium businesses, mom and pop type niche product businesses, and I would say very few, if any, are actually already selling on Amazon.
Well, the products are already listed on Amazon.
Right, but the company is not selling. The manufacturer themselves isn't selling it very often.
Yeah, so I mean, but we have taken products where the manufacturer themselves are selling it on Amazon, and we told them that this is what we can do to help increase your brand presence, and ultimately make you more money. And we've taken over the sales for those products. So it's definitely possible. But yeah, we do focus. I'm not going to try to buy Sony products to compete with Amazon. It's just not going to happen. I'm not going to there's very little that I can do to help Sony's marketing efforts. So you have to look at your abilities in the scope of things. What can you do to help somebody? It's if you can, the things that you can do to impact these businesses is going to make a much bigger impact on the smaller side businesses. So it's that's just one of the caveats. Is you're going to tend to work with more small and medium-sized businesses.
Dan, were you in sales before you discovered your online life?
What'd you say? I was in sales.
Were you in sales before you discovered the online life?
It's hard to. I mean, we did a not less direct sales. It was more. We come from an internet business company, right? An internet retail. We started selling.
I could tell. Okay, let's see. What about adhering to MAP? And for those that don't know, that is maximum advertised price or minimum advertised price. So many products that we sell are listed for much less, so no profit. So how do you deal with MAP? Are you adhering to that?
100% of the time, if the company says they have a MAP policy and we sign a MAP agreement, we adhere to it 100% of the time. Now, sometimes they ask us, to report, or if we see anybody breaking MAP, could forward it along or something to that effect. But yeah, if we sign a MAP agreement, we honor it 100% of the time.
Good deal. If you sell an existing listing, but you have superior images and superior marketing, then how do you apply them to that listing? You can go in and edit a listing. If you look in Manage Inventory, you find the item in your inventory list, and then just go across. You'll see a gray button over to the very far right side that says Edit, and you can click that button and it'll take you in, and you're making suggestions. Amazon may or may not take what you put in, but you can upload a new title, and new bullets, new description, new images, whatever you want to put in. If Amazon thinks that they are better than what's currently there, then you'll see them show up sometime in the future, some undetermined amount of time. But just go into Manage Inventory all the way over to the right-hand side and click the Edit button to do that. What sources are you using to find U.S. wholesalers? Amazon, or can you find some in the video?
All right. And then we Google the manufacturer and see if we start from there.
All right. Good deal. Let's see what else we've got. Lots of thank yous. Lots of people saying awesome information. Some of these are repeat questions that we already addressed. Let's see what else we've got, because we're already 10 minutes over. I want to get everybody's question in here, especially people that haven't had a question answered yet. Want to know more about the different strategies you implement to help convince manufacturers to problem solve and be a solution-oriented person. I think we already said that you cover this in the course. Is any of that in the 3 video series?
No, I don't think so. I don't think there's anything about the value propositions. But it's like the stuff we talked about, things that you're helping manage their map breakers, helping improve their listings, maybe cost per click, all these. But in the actual course, there's a plethora of examples.
All right, awesome. Let's see. I've got a couple here. Let me make sure that these have been addressed. Somebody sent in a question asking about drop shipping, which is not what you guys are talking about, right?
No, not at all.
All right, just making sure. Okay, I think that's it. One more time. Do you have to own your own website where you sell? No. To do that, they're still talking about selling on Amazon. So you don't have to have your own website because you would be selling everything on Amazon. And do you sell oversized items, and do you handle food products? And those are going to be our last 2 questions. Do you sell oversized products, and do you handle food items?
That is a big yes, and another big yes.
Basically, at this point, we don't. We originally got in and we're focused on one category, and it helped us really learn the model. But if it's profitable, we will carry it now. I honestly don't care. I don't care if it's an oversized TV. If they would let me ship trucks and they were profitable, I would do it.
So then next we're going to have Amazon Auto and Amazon Boat and Amazon Motors, all this stuff like eBay has now. So that's, you know, you're going to be sending cars to Amazon FBA. Too funny. You guys are just a wealth of information and so much fun to have around. I have enjoyed talking to you, and I know you've been so busy, especially this week, and I really appreciate you taking the time to come by and let us know about this. One more time, the link, if you guys can put this slide back up, I would appreciate it.
Right.
marketingwords.com/wholesalevideo1. marketingwords.com/wholesalevideo1. There will be a replay of this interview. The video has to process and render and blah, blah, all the techie stuff. So once we get that loaded up and I have a link, we will send out an email. It'll probably be tomorrow with a link to the first video again, just in case you need it, and also a link to the replay of this interview. So you'll have that as well. So if you are here now, then you are on our list and we have your email, so we'll be able to send that to you. And that would be awesome. Guys, you are super. I look forward to going through the videos again. I know that they will be as awesome as before. I really appreciate it, and thank you so much.
Thanks for having us. It's been a blast.
Absolutely.
See you later.
Yeah.